Hello, 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 and welcome to the Cheap Seats. This is your English Premier League podcast show, all the way from South Africa. We discuss all the things that have happened in the Premier League. This week, we had a game that was postponed because some fans decided to break through what was a fortress, but clearly it's not. And I don't even think it was a fortress on the field as well, but we'll talk about that as we go along. We're also going to be talking about the Europa League semi-finalists, the English teams, as well as the other English teams in the Champions League finals that are happening on Tuesday and Wednesday. We're going to discuss what's at stake. And then Fantasy Premier League lovers and viewers, towards the back end of the show, we'll be talking about the FPL Bonus Double Gameweek 35. Yes, it's a double game week. We've got 4 extra fixtures, 8 extra teams playing. So now your captaincy is going to be a little bit more awkward because it just can't be Kane anymore or just Mo Salah. Plays twice. And then after that, there's a blank game week, but we're going to cover that and more today as we get through. I've got Dean and AB here. But before we get started, remember, follow us on all these platforms. Please do like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And everyone else's Twitter handles are there. So if you want to DM them, please do. It will be great. As we go through. But how are you guys doing? Dean, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. Decent game on Sunday night. Finally saw what Gareth Bale can do in a Spurs shirt. It was good. It was masked a little bit by the fact that there were those protests. I saw that stat that said more people watched this no game rather than the Tottenham and Arsenal game. But they missed out on a masterclass. So, obviously who's losing?
What masterclass? They were talking about. Are they talking about the Tottenham?
They missed out on the Gareth Bale masterclass, like how to score.
Oh yes, a Gareth Bale hat trick. Yeah, that was really nice. I was impressed. I was like, oh, finally, you're beating who? Oh, okay, Sheffield. AB, how are you doing? Would you have been one of the protesters getting inside there? Penalty.
I mean, I saw the dude trying to do the bicycle kick, and he did. So that was awesome. Yeah, I'm doing great. It was actually awesome, like for just looking and watching this united fan base, just try and start a revolution. And it was great to see fans back in Old Trafford again. I mean, poor Edison Cavani. Like, this poor dude the only interaction he's had with fans is seeing fans like block his hotel room and hijack a field and
also call him a racist.
And call him a racist.
Yes, I just hope that all these protests could happen in a similar vein to racism. Maybe storm the Bastille or Old Trafford. But let's talk about that, AB. Obviously, as myself and Dean are slightly outsiders to all of this, we know that you guys have wanted the Glazers out for decades. It feels like it's decades, ever since they've been in charge of the club. What caused this? Was it the Super League? Because our protest happened 2 weeks ago, or what was it, 10 days ago? But yours seemingly happened very late. Like, what was happening? What went wrong? What went on? Why couldn't they have protested on the night of the Europa League semi-final? That would have made a massive stir, but that's another day. But like, what was the reason behind the protest?
So, I mean, just to answer that quick question there, the Europa League semi-final. I know because I follow a lot of the United fan accounts, and a lot of the stuff that was tweeted was they wanted to do it at Liverpool because there'd be more coverage, because it's United Liverpool, and it was also Saturday, or it's not Saturday, Sunday.
Bank holiday on the Monday.
So everyone's available. Everyone's probably boozed up, all that stuff. So just logistically, it's better if you're ever planning a protest, have a public holiday the day after, so that it's kind of like
they thought about this at least.
Yeah. If you're gonna have a braai, you don't want to braai on a Sunday night because you have to go to work on Monday. You braai on the Saturday so you can get a little bit drunk, and then you've got Monday or Sunday to hangover. So I mean, that's kids out there watching. When you can start
Use
drinking,
logic.
just remember that Uncle AB doesn't want you to be
It's good to
hungover.
see that Manchester United fans have some sort of logic, a little bit of stuff up there in the noggin to kind of guide
There's
them
not
through.
much to do in Manchester, hey, yo. But yeah, coming back to these Glazers. So look, I feel like the European Super League, not the Europa. Europa is something that's good. Come on, Europa. The European Super League was one step too far, and I think United fans had enough there. The fact that there was no communication with the fans, and there've never been communication with the fans. The Glazers don't talk to the fans. It's the Glazers, and then you have the United board, and then you have the fans. It's not connected. It's disjointed. It's everything wrong with how a football club should be run. And I think the fans were fed up by the lies that they were brought about by. I mean, Ed Woodward was. Sorry, I hear background noise. I'm not sure who that is. But Ed Woodward was part of the UEFA committees, part of the FA, and says he didn't know about the European Super League. It's added to that the financial implications of the Glazers costing United almost $2 billion in 16 years is just enough was enough, and the fans were tired of the same Glazer nonsense. And long may the protests, all be peaceful protests and justified protests, live, because these Glazers need to go.
So two things ran into my mind when I saw the protest. When I saw people walk into Old Trafford, I was like, if those people were of mine and your hue, AB, they'd been shot. But that's a story for another day. That was my first thought. I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. But my second thing was, if you're the Glazers and you're sitting in Tampa, Florida, you won a Super Bowl with Tom Brady, and seemingly united your cash cow because you're taking out dividends as everyone, do they care that fans in Manchester are protesting? And it is, as much as the fans want them out, they've seen this for years. We even saw this in the Fergie times. They would, because their answer would be, but we're going in through a rebuild. We had successful times under Ferguson early on. Ferguson retired, and we've been trying to rebuild, obviously, after using the greatest manager of all time. It hasn't worked. We tried to go to Mourinho. We gave him all the money. It hasn't worked out. What do you say to that?
Yeah, so it's a really convenient standpoint for the Glazers. They don't really care because they don't have to care. No one is forcing them to sell. United are still this commercial powerhouse that will generate revenue. Unfortunately, and this is where the fans are maybe at fault, is that until it starts hurting the Glazers' bottom line, the Glazers will never have to take action. Once these new 3 kits come out in July, August, and fans go and buy these kits, that's still money. Once fans are allowed back into the stadium and fans go and renew their season tickets and buy tickets and buy all the food and overpriced nonsense that's there, it's going to continue, lining the Glazers' pockets. There needs to be, from a fan point of view, some sort of boycotts or embargo on, not supporting the Glazers club. So watch from home, watch in a pub, support businesses, things like that, but don't go to the stadium. And it's impossible to say because it's never going to happen. I don't think it's ever happened.
No, because people like me are going to buy tickets and go live in the UK and sit there because I haven't been allowed to buy tickets before. But that's the thing. And so Dean, on your end, looking outside in, right, and looking at Daniel Levy and maybe the other clubs around there, this United protest was probably the biggest protest out of all the 6 clubs that entered the Super League. Yes, we saw Arsenal. They didn't manage to breach the Emirates Fortress. Hey. Also, they didn't manage to breach your toilet seat there as well with the Spurs fans. There were like 5 guys. The Chelsea guys didn't know how to... The Chelsea guys will claim that they started this whole ESL thing. It just started everyone getting out of the ESL. But the most important thing, there were two clubs that didn't have as vociferous protests. And I want to ask you about those two clubs, City and Liverpool. I hear that people in the eastern side of Manchester are very happy with the ownership of Manchester City. They've spent money, they've gotten trophies, and everyone was like, oh, you wanted us to go into the ESL, just don't do that again, we forgive you. Liverpool, on the other hand, I would have thought they would have actually had more deeper protests than what we've seen, even though they don't like the Fenway Group. Is there a reason why Liverpool and City fans were quiet? Is it because, well, they're winning trophies?
Well, I mean, I think if you ever wanted to know where the smarter fan bases are, you've answered it. Obviously, people in London are a lot smarter than people in Manchester and Liverpool, because they know that they're not going to get through a stadium security, or they're like, oh, it's a bit cold here, so I'm not going to really. But yeah, I mean, if you're a City fan, first of all, they don't really have any, and it's only folks that have started watching football since 2008. I think if you're one of those City fans, you're kind of sitting there and you're going, but like, what do I have to complain about? Like, I'm in a semi-final. I've been around a 1-0 halftime loss against, or a 1-0 deficit against PSG, and they're now leading 2-1. Life's pretty good if you're a City fan. You've got one of the best kind of coaches in world football ever. You've got a great up-and-coming team. Yeah, like, I think City fans are kind of taking the approach of, yeah, I mean, everyone makes mistakes. Let's just try and move on. Which is an inch. I kind of expected it most from City, just because of the history of that club, and they don't really have a great sort of pedigree as yet, where something like Manchester or Liverpool do have that pedigree of fans and, a bigger club history than City. So I think the Liverpool one did surprise me the most, because of any sort of passionate fan, you kind of put Liverpool up there. I mean, you just have to take that about how many fake Liverpool fans came out of the woodworks last season, where they were doing well. I mean, the whole Durban was wearing Liverpool shirts. So that one surprised me a lot. But I think again, they're kind of leaning on the fact of, they don't want Klopp to go. They don't want to cause a little bit more unrest. The club is in a bit of a weird period at the moment. They're not in the top four. They've got bigger things to worry about. They rather want to kind of put the focus on football and try and finish Champions League spots, do something and save their season, rather than kind of arting the owners and trying to make a bad situation worse. So I think that's probably the reason why. And yeah, shame, I did see the Spurs supporters. I think there were like 15 guys that rocked up. And again, I mean, you just clap for, I admire them. Like, well done, guys. But there's nothing else to be said, because nothing's going to change. And I think that's the one thing, and I agree with you, Mpo, that's the thing that irritated me. I don't think nothing's going to happen. Because exactly that, you're going to protest. It's the same as this, right? You go out, everyone knows tequila is a bad choice to drink, but everyone always orders tequila. Like, it's bad for you. It's a terrible decision, but you're not going to stop. So, like, there's no point in trying to say, oh, yeah, I'm not going to support the Glazers. I'm going to boycott. I'm going to protest, because you're going to be back as soon as fans are allowed back. You're going to buy their new shirt because you think that United are the best club ever. So it's just a bit of a like, oh, look at us, we're a big deal, but actually nothing's going to happen. So yeah, that's just the way I feel.
So, AB, I'm going to give you the final word on this, and I'm just going to ask you this question. So, a lot of the clubs in the Big Six, the ESL 6, their American owners or Russian owners have looked to invest in the club. As you say, there's obviously numerous reports flying around that say that Manchester United are the only club in England that actually pays its owners pay itself dividends. What about the fact that, and many people have been complaining about, you saw with the Kroenkes, Arsenal built a new stadium, Tottenham has a new stadium, Liverpool got that massive main grandstand all sorted out and kitted out. They got a new training facility. City got that revamped that stadium that was an athletic stadium to begin with. They also sorted out their training ground. United, many people are saying, is still living in the 90s. Old Trafford is effectively old. And to a certain extent, that maybe if the Glazers had invested in that, things would have been different. Where do you sit on that? Because I'm like, look, dude, yes, Old Trafford's old, but if it's a cash cow, why not? Why keep investing in this instead of just sitting and eating the money like they are?
Yeah. So the thing is, like, okay, so Old Trafford desperately needs an upgrade. It's inside when you're sitting on the stand, like on the seat and looking down, it's perfect. As soon as you leave the pitch view, it basically it could be any. You wouldn't know it's Old Trafford. You wouldn't know Manchester United play there. It's a bit run down. It's a bit murky. I mean, I've been to Old Trafford. It leaves a lot more to be desired. I've been to the Emirates. The Emirates is beautiful. I've been to Wembley, absolutely stunning as well. Haven't been to New Tottenham Hotspur, whatever they want to call it.
I'm going there whenever one of my NFL teams decides to play in London. That's how it's
and if you think about it, like, I've seen the Trafford Centre, which is a shopping mall maybe about 5 km away from Old Trafford, be expanded upon like tenfold since my first trip to Old Trafford in like 2011 to now. So 10 years, that Trafford Centre has grown more than the facilities around Old Trafford. If you want to get a shirt printed with your name on it, like AB69, whatever, you've got to you've got to go literally to a container in the car park outside Old Trafford, and that's where they do their custom shirt printing. And that's about the extent. The stadium tour, all the match day features around Old Trafford have stayed the same for the last 10 years. There's no building upon that. There's no giving back to the fans, and that's something that, with instead of spending £10 million a year on stadium management and things like that, which is what the Glazers are currently doing, if you up that to 30 mil, suddenly you're improving the match day experience. You're giving back to the fans. You're creating this world of football that should be around a stadium like Old Trafford. Don't increase the capacity. It's fine. If you increase the capacity to 90,000 people will come. But it's just like there's no heart and soul in the Glazers' ownership of this club, and they're missing that. And if they added that, there would be none of this protest. And that's what's missing, really, is the Glazers are running this football club like a business and like a cash cow, and they don't truly understand what the fans want. And it's evidenced by the fact that they pay themselves £20 million dividends each year, that they've paid, maybe close to 500k or 500 mil worth of interest over their time at Old Trafford. So it's really sad. It's a sad situation, and yeah, I don't know where to start, because the Glazers do not need to sell. And if they were to sell, the price that they wanted to sell at is disgusting.
Yes, the other question is, Dean, who can buy Manchester United? Like, are they literally subbing out a billionaire, an American billionaire, for either an Arab sheikh or another Russian oligarch? Who can afford this? Bill Gates is divorcing, so he's out.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I mean, every single one of these football clubs are going to be owned by a billionaire who has business on his mind. That's the thing. No one else is going to, there's no diehard Man United fan that's made $1 billion, billions of pounds on crypto that is just going to go and buy United. No one's going to do that. So, like, pick the evil that you want to live with. So, yeah, get rid of the Glazers. But then, like Arsenal, Spotify wants to buy them, but based on their performances.
I would subscribe to Spotify so I could put the money in for my new Dutch sensation, Ryan Gravenberch. That's the guy I want. All the money in the world.
Arsenal deserve to be sponsored by, bought by polyphonic ringtones. That's the level of their performance, not Spotify. So again,
wow.
We'll see. I think United fans have obviously, like this whole dividend story, it's not great, and there is a lot of money that's kind of been flooded out, and no football fan is happy about that. But again, like we said, football's become a business, and that's why the Super League and things like that started happening. So at the end of the day, which business owner do you want to be owned with? That's the choice. So are there ethical ones? Yeah, I'm sure there are, but a lot more are not. So
well, you can be like Sheikh Mansour. He literally took a nothing team and made them into potential UEFA Champions League finalists. And we're going to talk about that. I'm going to segue to that. Final thought on the Glazers from me. Look at their NFL team if you're a Manchester United fan. Look at the history of this NFL team from probably the late 90s. See what Tampa Bay has done, and then enjoy and bask in the glory that the Glazers are going to do just the same. You're not getting Tom Brady. Cristiano's not coming back. There is no way. This could be the last big final, this Europa League final, that they're probably going to be in for a while. So enjoy. Because I know Bruno's going. The way things are going, that's how they got Ronaldo to go. That's how Rooney decided to bounce. It's just watch this train. It's going somewhere. But the Glazers are currently leading and running a franchise that are Super Bowl champions, so we must respect them. Moving on to the Champions League. Oh, Europe this week. Obviously, we're now realizing that the English Premier League is probably the greatest league in the world. Probably even better than the Champions League, quite frankly, because right now there's protests. Fans are allowed onto the field. Big Joe from the pub down the road got to score a penalty at the Stretford end. So that's a good thing. But then in midweek, these guys are doing some incredible things. And so obviously on Tuesday night and Wednesday night, you've got City taking on Paris Saint-Germain. We saw pictures of Sir Alex going into the PSG hotel to try and stop City from winning their first ever title. And then obviously Chelsea against Real Madrid. Eden Hazard could come back to haunt the Blues back at Stamford Bridge. From that point, for those teams, what's at stake? I'm going to ask Dean about Chelsea. I'm going to ask AB about Manchester City. What I think from a Chelsea perspective, what's at stake is pretty much cementing that Thomas Tuchel era. It's the beginning of that era, and what a great way to start it. Because next season, if Chelsea does not win the Premier League, he's getting fired. If he doesn't win the Champions League, that I can tell you. His squad is stacked. It's literally everything you need, and it's an indictment. I do think that they are fourth right now, and they could drop out into fifth. But the one thing that that he needs is obviously to cement that and to start that. It's a great thing for him, Thomas Tuchel, but it's also an incredible thing for Chelsea, and Chelsea fans would be expectant of higher honors next season. Dean, what do you think about this Chelsea side and how they're going to navigate this semi-final, even though they do have an away goal? How they're going to do it all? And what is at stake for them?
Well, yeah, I think you talk about what's at stake, and I think going into the season, that's exactly everyone had the highest of expectations of Chelsea. You look at what this summer transfer market, who they brought in, and the sort of willingness and the sort of need to succeed from having a summer transfer like you did is suddenly a lot higher because of that. So I think, obviously, with Lampard and everything that went on, them, first of all, getting to a final, in a Champions League final, when Lampard got fired in January or whatever, it's something they would have dreamed of. It's not even something that would have been a reality. Even finishing top four probably would have been like, wow, if we just get that, it would be great. So I think them having a 1-1 draw again in the first leg was already a great achievement, because Real Madrid, although it's not the Real Madrid of old, like what we had, they can still beat people, and Chelsea are sitting in fourth, whereas Real Madrid's sitting in, I think it's second in La Liga at the moment. So it shows that Chelsea can obviously play football. And I think them getting into a final, which it's not going to be easy, but I do think they'll probably do it. I think the way that N'Golo Kante's played, especially in that first leg, was amazing. So him doing exactly what he does as normal will just be, kind of run-of-the-mill for him. But again, his run-of-the-mill performance is just amazing. So I think Chelsea stand a good chance. Obviously, Benzema is the big threat there. But obviously, like Thiago Silva's back, and their defense is kind of getting back to kind of semi rock solid to what they're used to. So that win over the weekend against Fulham, although it's Fulham, it's still momentum. So I do think Chelsea will put up a good fight. It will. From an English perspective, the only English team I never want to see do well is obviously Arsenal. But I wouldn't mind if Chelsea get into a final.
I don't want you guys to win.
So, no. So if Chelsea get in, I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, I'll let AB talk about the PSG City game because I don't think that's going to be as easy as what some people
N'Golo
think.
Kante was very important in that first semi-final. He I don't know what was going on with Casemiro and Toni Kroos, but either they were too deep or someone was too high, but he just kept on running. But or maybe they thought Mason Mount was the threat. That's the other thing that kind of helped. But N'Golo Kante essentially has gotten himself on the checkbook of Florentino Perez at Real Madrid. AB, when I look at City, they are aiming for a treble. It's not 99 treble, but it's a treble nonetheless. And this is going to be their first ever Champions League victory. This is probably the best position they found themselves in a UCL semi-final since that Tottenham game where they went to Spurs with an away goal and things just capitulated somehow, some way. And there was a VAR situation when VAR was working well. What does winning the Champions League mean for this team? You know, they've won everything bar it. Will that put them in the echelon of one of the greatest clubs in England? Or they're already there?
I think it would cement that place, as you say, in Paul. So this Champions League semi-final tonight, May the 4th, is the Avengers Infinity War for Man City. It is literally you're one step away from endgame. You just need to like blow us all away as City. This is where you are. This is where Thanos comes in and is like, boom, we are here now. What are you gonna do? You know, City are on the cusp of honest greatness. They're right there. They've got one foot in the final, I would say, because Mark, Gay is gone, so that's a big loss for PSG, and they're going to play with Herrera. So Herrera is going to be fouling, being the little, annoying creature that he is. But City have done it all. They were absolutely relentless on Saturday, I believe, against Palace. They had like 20 shots on goal. Aguero scored. Aguero scored.
Those guys didn't play on midweek.
Exactly.
Nathan Ake made an appearance. That was for me. I was like, oh, okay, you're alive.
and Nathan Ake would have started at United had Solskjaer signed him. And it just goes to show the quality that the City team have. So for City, this is everything for them. So tonight is Infinity War. Should they, get through, the final is endgame. They're gonna that for them is what it all means to be a City player under Pep. It's gonna be Pep's legacy and Aguero's legacy. And I know it sounds weird, but I really hope somewhere that Aguero gets to win the Champions League with City. And it's a because
City. He's literally got 2 weeks.
and I mean, like, as an Aguero fan,
so what you're saying is to those guys who are putting Aguero on the bench because he's playing a false nine, don't stuff it up, Phil Foden. Don't stuff it up. Riyad Mahrez. So one question for you, AB: does the treble count? Does their treble, this season's treble, count? They've gotten the league. They've got Carabao Cup. Is it a treble with a little T and yours is capitalized, or does it all counts the same? So they can have a DVD that says Manchester City treble, and it won't hurt you.
Oh, it's gonna hurt. 100%, it's gonna hurt. And there'll always be an asterisk to United fans. It's always gonna hurt because at the same time, United are competing in the same league. United win the Champions League. United win the League Cup. United are in the Premier League. All of that. As Man United and United's boards and owners, clubs, players, you should be embarrassed that City are this far and you're not. And it's a big wake-up call. But it's going to hurt. It counts. I'll make a joke about it. It's real. It's not nice to see. Yeah.
Well, if you're asking United's owners to be embarrassed about it, they were in a division in the NFL with the Saints, and the Saints dominated them for the better part of 15 years with a short man named Drew Brees. But we're
I
okay
honestly
with
don't
it.
think that the Glazers really know that Man City are playing in the Champions League semi-final. I don't even think you could ask Joel Glazer who Man City's captain is, and he'd be able to tell you.
Yeah, well, he's a Super Bowl champ. There was a Kentucky Derby. Everybody was there from Tampa. It was
Yeah.
lovely.
A broken clock is right twice a day.
Okay, so let's move on to the Europa League final, semi-final, not final, semi-final. Arsenal gave us a stinker on Thursday night, and Manchester United gave us a tennis score. They won the first set 6-2. They're probably going to lose the second set 6-love, but we shall see. We're going to go to Dean on Manchester United, and we're going to go to AB on Arsenal because I want to switch things up. And you'll talk about your team as well. But Dean, this is all about Ole. It's not about the club. Who cares about the Europa League? They're already in the Champions League. It's just all about making the manager feel better and probably giving him a couple more seasons when, to some, they are still questioning whether he's better than Arteta. And that's my thing. I'm like, dude, if you're questioning whether this oak's better than Arteta, why are we even having this? But it's all about Ole. That's what it is. He needs to win something.
Well, I mean, I know what it feels like to not win something, obviously. So it's not a good feeling. So, look, I mean, I think from a United fan perspective, winning the Europa League, it's obviously the second string. It's not what they would have wanted at if you asked United fans at the beginning of the season. But what it will mean for the club is European trophy for a PE teacher, and all of a sudden those jokes don't hold as much water. So I think it is exactly like you say, it's more of a sort of bragging rights thing, other than just we really went for the Europa League and we got it. The one thing that I will say though is, I mean, this is the same, they're playing Roma, and that's the same club that held Barcelona a few years back, can't remember, when they came back in that second leg of the Champions League. So I don't think Roma are also going to be a walkover. Obviously, it's a 6-2, it's 4 goals, it's massive. But they just got Jose Mourinho as their coach for next season. So this is also the last time they're going to stand a hope in hell of doing anything in football ever.
Wait, hold up. They're going to make the Champions League.
They're fine. They'll make the Champions League, but they're not going to do anything.
Former Chelsea managers win leagues in Italy. That's the goal. That's what you should be saying.
Well, I'm more saying it from a place of I hope Jose goes there and runs Rome rampant, because no one likes him, and I hope he gets run over by one of those Italian buses now. It won't be an English bus. It'll be an Italian bus.
A Roman bus.
But yeah, I think in terms of United, obviously they put in a solid performance. I think I said it earlier in the season, the more Cavani play, I don't understand why you would never play Cavani earlier in the season. And he's just producing the goods. That guy's quality. So I think he's just proving it more and more now. I think it's stupid. Obviously, there's a big willingness from United fans, from what I can see, to keep him at the club and to kind of, not let him run his contract out and then move. But I think that even more so now is coming more to the forefront. So there are a lot of side plays to United winning this Europa League, but I think their squad and what to do with their squad following this will be a big one for United.
So last week I was told that the worst thing that ever happened to Arsenal was the fact that they won the FA Cup. I don't think this Europa League Cup is the worst thing to ever happen to Arsenal, because it's a trophy and we need to get into the Champions League somehow, and it gives us extra revenue to get into, to be able to buy more players and also be able to attract those Champions League type players at a team whose UEFA coefficient today is higher than Chelsea's. Wow, I was shocked. But anyway, AB, if you look at this Arsenal side, it's UEFA or bust. It's Europa League or bust. But for me, what I want to ask you to touch on this Ole thing. Is Manchester United's thing all about Ole?
I think yes and no. For Ole, he's won trophies in Norway. It means nothing.
Yeah.
But it's really important just to justify his approach. United supporting him with a few signings, your Harry Maguires, your Jeepers, who else has he signed? Daniel James.
Donny van der Beek creates some.
Look, Donny's guys. We don't want to talk about Donny here. Donny's not playing. Donny's not crucial to this United team. The Brunos, and if United go and win the Europa League, it's sort of keeping the likes of Bruno and Pogba at the club to say, hey, you know what? We screwed up 2 matches in the Champions League. It cost us our place there, but we did literally the next best thing, and we went and we took that backdoor route and we won that trophy. We won that competition. We screwed up in the FA Cup, fine. We did our best in the league. No one could touch City. It is what it is. And it's really important to keep those big players happy. And it's important for Oli as a manager to say, you know what, I've achieved a trophy. It's the second best trophy in Europe, but it's a trophy. And I'm okay as a manager. And hopefully that will lead to him showing the board that, look, you gave me X, Y, and Z. I came out second in the league. I won a trophy. I need more backing. I need more support. This is what I need to beat City, both in the Premier League and in the Champions League. And let's hope to the United gods out there that it works. Arsenal, however, this Arsenal team worries me because their best player this season has been Alex Lacazette. Now he's injured for their most important game. Is he fit? I don't know. Because last
Alba,
week,
who's now scoring incredible goals.
Yeah, but is he motivated? If Alba is the Alba of last season, Arsenal have a chance on Thursday.
Dude, the dude had malaria. It wasn't like he had an attitude problem. Like, guys, come on.
But, when he was fit at the start of the season, after getting that new contract, he wasn't the same. That was pre-malaria. But
we figured out what the reason was. Martinelli wasn't crossing to him. So get Martinelli on the left. Stop playing a false 9 and play Alba. In the middle.
I wish I had these level of excuses for my club. I wish.
So I personally believe Arsenal need to stick by Saka and ESR. I think they're outrageously talented as young players. However, they are inconsistent. But the only way you'll achieve consistency is by playing them. Yeah, Mason Greenwood was nowhere for 80% of the season, and now suddenly he scored like 5 goals in 7 games. It's disgusting.
The dude scored 5 goals this season, and everyone's just crying. It's just unbelievable.
But
it's amazing.
It's because of form, and that's the thing. You have to stick by these young players. Unfortunately, Arsenal are just keeping Odegaard warm until Real Madrid want him, but that's the nature. He was
injured last week too, guys. What's going on? Like, I don't understand. Guys get injured. It's an Arsenal thing. Our players just get injured.
Yeah. The big worry for me is Arsenal have been a club that have produced probably the best left backs that England have ever seen, and now Xhaka is there. It's a big worry, and I think that
left back is playing centre mid at West Brom, getting relegated, and I honestly don't understand how they looked at the depth chart and were like, let's let him go. But happy Ainsley, I love you, man.
Look, Arsenal need to throw the bones. They need to sacrifice a goat. They need to do what they have to do to get through against, Unai. Yeah. No, not Villarreal. You need to beat Unai before.
Here's the thing, right? Al Madrigal's not the happiest of places for Arsenal. Last time we were there, we shat ourselves all the way through to the Champions League final. And then Riquelme got a penalty and it got saved. It was beautiful. Then on Thursday we arrive at Al Madrigal and you're like, dude, you're playing on false 9. Pep much? Pep light? And it was Pep light because the bastards couldn't score. City scored 2 goals the night before, and these guys only could manage 1 with a false 9. And so that's where the issue is. Like, play. The thing about Arteta, and I'm going to end on this, especially with the whole Solskjaer thing. Solskjaer plays what he has, with what he has. That's why Donny hasn't come in. You have to get creative to get Donny in the team with Bruno and Pogba. There have been moments where Pogba's been playing on the left because that's only where Pogba can be to make this team work. Whereas Arsenal, this guy is literally trying to recreate the wheel. How the hell is Granit Xhaka playing a left back when you've got a fullback who, yes, he's right-footed in Cedric Suarez, chilling there. That he's faster than Xhaka, and all you get from Granit Xhaka is moments. And it's like in his defense, he hasn't done that badly at left back. He's not the issue. It's just the balance of the side is off because his left wing doesn't want to come and defend. But anyway, dude, stop being just Arteta. If you're listening, to stop being creative. Just play at number 9. Martinelli was on the bench on Thursday. Why the hell didn't you want to play him in the middle? Or because you want some height, play Pepe down in the middle at number 9. He doesn't like defending in the first place. So I just didn't get how poor Emil Smith-Rowe is busy chasing down balls. And you're like, but dude, come on. So stop being Pep, be yourself, and you'll be fine. Like literally, if you said which strikers do I have and you put him in, even if it was Balogun, that's okay too. Even in Ketia, that's still fine. Don't be oh my word. It's a long thing. But anyway, we're gonna go into FPL now because we've had enough about Arsenal, and I haven't asked Dean about Arsenal, but I know how he thinks. But we're winning Europa League, by the way, Dean. Just letting you know now. We're going to come out 1-0, and then Manchester United are going to be beaten by the Egyptian Pirlo, also known as Mohamed Al-Neni. Okay, let's go into the FPL section of the show, and we will come back in a few moments to talk FPL. There's lots of things we need to tell you about, so just hang around. And we are back again with the FPL portion of the show. This is where we tell you all the things you need to do to make sure that your FPL team is ready for the upcoming game week. This week is game week 35. We found out last week that it's going to be a bonus double game week. There are 4 extra fixtures for you to try and figure out. 8 teams are playing, so you're going to have to just try and see what it is. Well, not 8 teams. It is eight extra teams that are playing. It's 4 extra. It is 4 extra fixtures. So we've gotten the guys here. How was your game week 34 with the postponement? I was waiting on Bruno to come light up the show. Didn't. Waiting on Jota to at least get something. Didn't. Why? Because big old Joe and big old Sam decided to become heroes and storm the gates of what we call the Fortress Old Trafford. I'm so angry at United fans right now. It's not even funny because you guys are costing me money. AB, how was your FPL week?
Oh, don't be angry. I mean, Old Trafford hasn't been a fortress for a long time. Guys, Sheffield came and beat us there. And now you're expecting like these farmers and like plumbers and whoever our fans are. Yeah, obviously, we've got a terrible defense. We always concede. So, yeah, we're always going to let those guys in. My game week was shocking. I am older than the amount of points I got in fantasy football. So, yeah, leave it at that. Gonna just leave it at that. Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I have to say.
Dean, how was your weekend?
It was good. I mean, I think I made some good calls on last week's show, putting Fernandes and Jota on the bench, because obviously I had the insight that they were not going to play. But then also the Gareth Bale call differential, just going to call that one out. Man getting a hat-trick. So if only I listened to myself.
I was thinking about that. I'm like, I'm like trying to find who's got Bale in the team. And I'm like, man. So if you listen to Dean, you are gold.
You would have been amazing.
Maybe we're going to listen to him again this week because I think his differential picks also quite juicy and tasty. Mine kind of died with Iheanacho and Leicester. He at least got like an assist, something kind of helped me out, but I needed some goals and I was lacking goals this weekend. So let's go into game week 25, 35. It's a double game week, and our normal rules are play and captain and play guys who have got 2 fixtures. That's the whole point. So try and set your team up. Don't waste those transfers. The first guy I'm going to look at, the first team is AB. AB comes out the gates by transferring Mason Greenwood, transferring out Marcus Rashford, captaining Bruno and Chris Wood. AB, why does it look like it's Manchester United all the way?
Okay, so I feel like Rashford isn't 100%. Well, he hasn't been 100%. We know this for a while. So I think with Thursday coming up, I think Ollie's going to put everyone in like he normally does because Ollie does not rotate. It's weird how in like Manchester you have 2 coaches, one who's all about rotation and is like infamous for it, and one who you can predict a starting lineup. So I know Greenwood, Rashford, and Cavani will will definitely start on Thursday. So I think Rashford will be rested on the weekend. So yeah, take him out. But Greenwood is young. He's like a child. He's not even 20 years old yet. He can run for days. Just give him like that Nesquik and he'll just run. So Greenwood definitely better to play. Also, Cavani's old. He's about to retire, again. So because when you go to like Paris, you retire and the first time, and then you leave Paris and then you come out of retirement. So he'll probably start on Thursday and then probably be bench again on the weekend. So Greenwood will probably play up front for at least one of the games. So yeah, go with Greenwood. Bruno is always a good captain. Bruno's got lungs for days. He doesn't take a break.
Even though you guys are playing Villa and Leicester, and I think those games are one's away.
So we'll win that game. Okay, so we'll draw that game.
So Leicester's at home and Villa's away. So you're comfortable with packing the team with Manchester United.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've had a fairly decent record against Leicester, barring the one cup match. But in the Premier League, United and Leicester have done really well. United are always going to concede, so don't stress about that. Villa have had, without Grealish, Villa are really a different team. And I feel like their fate is secured. So I'm not sure how motivated they'll be. So yeah, Bruno always takes penalties, free kicks, things like that. He's looked good. He scored 2 goals the other day against Roma. It's weird having, and he's also had a week break. So that for him is, like a 3-month holiday for the rest of us. So you'll be fine. And then Chris Wood as my differential, just because 4 goals.
He scored a hat-trick the other day.
Yeah, and he scored another goal. And there's not really many strikers. You could go with Cavani because he is playing, but over a space of a week, how often is he going to play? Knowing he'll probably get 90 minutes on Thursday. So this, you just got to be careful because I think Ollie would now have taken this Liverpool postponement game and said, you know what, guys, let's rest up. Best team on Thursday just to make sure we're in the final, and then I can rotate in the Premier League because I've got that.
Isn't he like he getting 7 days before a Europa League semi-final that he doesn't need the 7 days for? Okay, let me go into my team. So this is what I decided to do this week. I'm bringing in Frank's love child, Mason Mount. He's a very fine midfielder. I'm transferring out James Maddison. Just need that last Chelsea push. Chelsea have something to fight for. Leicester trying to hold off. I'm always picking the underdog, the team below. So that's going to be something. My captaincy picks Ollie Watkins. I'm loving Aston Villa's fixtures. He's also scored gotten 33 points in the last 5 game weeks. That's about an average of 7 a game week. So that's very good. And yeah, he's got Everton and he's got United. So I'm banking on a win there. I'm banking on him scoring, not a win, but him scoring against United at home. And with Jack Grealish not being who he was, this is probably one of the best runs of forms that he's had, and I've enjoyed it because he's been in my team. He's been the guy to bail me out, so I'm giving him the captain's armband, just like you would any other real life football team. And then James Ward-Prowse. I think for a differential, the guy scored about 142 points. He's 6th in the midfielders over the season. He's an accumulator. You need guys like that. He's the differential. Not in my team as yet. Still trying to figure out if I need to put him in. But he is somebody you need to look at, especially because he's got 2 games. And those 2 games are Liverpool, so there's a and he might not get points there, but he's been quite consistent for them over lately. And they've got Crystal Palace, and I'm looking at that Crystal Palace fixture, and I'm like, there's some points there, there's some free kicks that could happen, even against Liverpool, and some assists. So I think James Ward-Prowse, not a lot of people like him, 9.2. Of the people have him in their team, so he's a really good option from midfield. I gave you Jack Harrison last week. I'm giving you James Ward-Prowse this week. So that's where I'm thinking, even though I'm trying to catch up. And that's why Ollie's my captain. Dean, let's go through your team.
Also United heavy, and that's purely double game week focused. I took a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned that Wolves had a pretty easy run. Of those 4 games they faced, them relatively easy. 2 of those they got clean sheets. They brought in Connor Cody? No more clean sheets. So Connor Cody is gone. Luke Shaw's in for his double game week against Villa Leicester. And also, I know that following this, then there's that blank game week. But I think from what I can see, that might be the time where they reschedule the Liverpool United game. So I don't know if that blank game week will happen for United. So I'm not too concerned about bringing in United players for now. And then post that, they got Fulham. So you don't really expect Fulham to score against United, or at least expect Shaw to be able to do something. Then in terms of captain, Fernandes, double game week, always said it. Fernandes will play, no doubt about it. But I think the differential, and I think AB highlighted all the good points there about Greenwood. He's got legs. He wants to play now. He's looking like he's in that team, and he looks like he can do something in that team for the first time. So in terms of differential, also don't have him in my team. But I think if you're looking for someone that's going to do something, I think Greenwood would be a good way to go. The only thing that I will say over the weekend that did worry me a bit is Kane didn't look so up for that Sheffield match. And I think so Spurs have got a game against Leeds, which he scored in previously, and that could be, if you're not looking to captain Fernandes, Kane could be a decent captain pick as well for this week. The only thing that worries me is that...
Why would you captain someone who's played once?
Well, I'm just saying, if you come and you want to captain Kane, you can do it. But you will be even more done because, he didn't look up for the game. I'm a bit worried about where his head's at.
I wouldn't be
Manchester.
happy if I was being coached by Ryan Mason.
Yeah, when Pep Guardiola is in a Champions League semi-final,
So, guys, Mason's staying as coach. I'm going to say this now. Mason's going to stay as coach next season, I promise you.
Okay, so guys, looking at the teams that are playing twice, the big teams that are playing twice, Leicester's playing twice, Arsenal's playing twice, Chelsea's playing twice, and Everton and Villa playing twice. Are there any other captaincy options from those teams? I'm thinking off the top of my head, or maybe a Kai Havertz, if he continues with the form that he had over the weekend, or possibly Jamie Vardy or Iheanacho. Maybe you might get some goals there from the two guys. Anybody else from those teams? DCL, Alba?
I think a Pulisic is a good shout as well. He's finding some nice form, is he not? But it all depends on Chelsea's Champions League.
Yeah, that's the problem. You can't put. I'm so scared to put any of those guys on my team because they're gonna be Champions League focused. So you can't. It's the same as like why KDB didn't play over the weekend. City's going to rest their full strength 11 and put on the next best. And I think the rest of the guys are going to follow suit. So now over the next week, I don't think you can take the chance of putting in a maybe player. You kind of have to go for those bankers. So stick to the guys that will play would be my advice.
I think Kelechi or Vardy is a good shot because again, Leicester playing Newcastle like it's Newcastle. Like guys, those guys are tapped out hard. And then it's United. And Leicester, I wouldn't put it past Leicester scoring against United. I wouldn't put it past anyone scoring against United. So yeah, Kelechi and Vardy can do some real damage in FPL terms. So
okay, guys, that's pretty much it for the show. Thank you very much for everyone watching. Thanks, guys, for coming through. All the best to your teams that are playing in Europe or playing in the Premier League. Have a great weekend and a week of sport. Remember, the deadline for FPL is Friday night. So don't be surprised. You were warned right here. And this is also for myself because I missed the one deadline, but we will get to it. But thank you very much, guys. And thank you very much to our viewers. Remember, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please share this as widely as possible. Thank you very much. From myself, Dean, and AB, it's all the best. Enjoy the weekend and Nesale Kakahiso.